The Mirror Man. I've always believed that fear lives in the details. We overlook a shadow that lingers too long, a creak in the hallway when you're alone, or a reflection that doesn't move when you do. But nothing prepared me for the apartment on Rue Del Mar and the thing behind the mirror. It began in the fall, just as the wind started to bite and the trees along the avenue stood like charred bones. I had just moved into the city for a new job, graphic design, at a marketing firm. Money was tight, so when I found a fully furnished studio in an old building for half the usual rent, I took it. The landlord said little, just handed me the keys and told me, "Don't mess with the mirror in the bedroom. It's been there a long time." The studio was small but cozy, exposed brick walls, high ceiling, creaky wooden floors. It smelled faintly of lavender and something musty underneath. The furniture looked old, but well kept. The bed sat in the corner, just beneath a wide, ornate mirror fixed to the wall-carved wood, slightly discolored at the edges. Antique, probably. The first night was uneventful. I unpacked, showered, and lay in bed scrolling through my phone until I drifted off. But somewhere deep in the night, I awoke not to a sound, but a feeling, a pressure, like being watched. My eyes went to the mirror almost instinctively. In the moonlight, it reflected the room back at me, the bed, the open closet, the faint outline of my body under the covers. Everything looked normal, except I thought just maybe there was something else. A shadow in the corner. I sat up and turned on the lamp. Nothing. The room was empty. The next morning, I laughed it off. First night in a new place. Old buildings creak. Shadows play tricks. But it didn't stop. Each night, I began to wake up always around 3 a.m. with that same feeling, like eyes boring into my back. And each time I looked into the mirror, I felt the image didn't quite match. It was as though my reflection lagged behind, blinked too slowly, turned its head a second too late. I stopped looking at it directly. I started sleeping with the lamp on. I even draped a towel over the mirror. But each morning, I'd wake to find the towel on the floor. Then the dream started. I'd find myself in the room, my room, but everything was off. The walls were gray, decayed. The air was heavy. The mirror was clean and glinting. And inside it, a figure, not me, but like me, pale, hollow-eyed, wearing my clothes but not moving like a reflection. It would watch me, then raise its hand, slowly, like it was pushing through syrup, and place its palm on the inside of the glass. I'd wake up drenched in sweat. The image burned into my mind. One night I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to remove the mirror. Maybe it was psychological. Maybe I just needed it gone. I grabbed a flashlight, some tools, and started unscrewing it from the wall. That's when I noticed something odd. The screws weren't screwed into drywall. They were bolted into a thick wooden panel. Behind that was another panel. And behind that, a space. My heart hammered. I pried the boards loose and shone the flashlight inside. There was a narrow corridor about 2 feet wide, running along the wall. Dust filled the air, and at the end of the passage, something moved. It stepped forward slowly. A tall, gaunt man in a dark suit, face pale as chalk, eyes sunken in black. He moved like something underwater, too smooth, too slow, and he smiled, not wide, just enough to freeze the blood in my veins. I stumbled back, dropping the flashlight. It clattered to the floor, beams spinning wildly. I slammed the panels back in place and pushed the mirror up, bolting it down as fast as I could. The landlord didn't answer my calls. I left the apartment that night and never went back. Later, I found out the building had once been a boarding house in the 1930s. A man had lived in that room. He was obsessed with mirrors, said they were portals, said he could see the real world through them. He disappeared one night, vanished without a trace. Sometimes I wonder if he ever left. Sometimes I dream of him watching me still from the other side of the glass. And sometimes I think the mirror I covered is still waiting.